My dear Master, since you have the knowledge of the messengers and the truthful ones, and since you are the door of God and the door of our Master Al-Hussein, I ask you for a cure for the ADHD disorder. I hope you will answer me, because my cure of this illness will lead to a strong foundation being prepared for you in Lebanon. Bilal Sawil.
Our next question comes from brother Bilal Souel from Lebanon, and he is asking, he asked a question to Abu Sadiq alayhi salam about ADHD, or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which seems to be extremely common nowadays in the world with all these kind of problems with focusing and studying and so on and so forth. And he has said, is there a natural cure to it? Now, the answer is very interesting, because what Abu Sadiq alayhi salam mentioned in the answer is advising him to try to use something called activated charcoal. Now, activated charcoal is something that's been around for millennia. It's been used for a very, very long time. And even now in modern medicine, it's mainly used to detoxify the body after patients have taken overdose of certain drugs. And what it basically does is it binds to these toxins and takes them out of your system. Activated in the charcoal simply means that the charcoal has been treated under very high temperature with oxygen. And what this does is it increases its surface area by making it more porous. When it becomes more porous, it has more capability of binding to these toxins and removing them from your system. There's a very interesting case studies that have been done using activated charcoal to treat some really severe psychiatric illnesses, such as bipolar disorder. And there have been case studies published in extremely well-reputed journals, including one in the journal, in the Australian and New Zealand Journal of Psychiatry, where they've treated patients using activated charcoal who came in, for example, with a manic episode. When a person is manic, it means they're very, very agitated. Mania is basically the opposite of depression. Extremely agitated, anxious, restless, to the point of becoming clinically unwell. In it, they treated this patient with 1 gram of activated charcoal for a period of 2 weeks. And what they found was, after 15 days, the symptoms had completely resolved. The whole context of this particular case study was this theory, which is now very much in play in the psychiatric circles, which is that there is what they call a gut-brain axis. In other words, due to an imbalance or inflammatory process going on in the gut, certain toxins are produced that make their way to the brain. So the theory is activated charcoal, which binds to toxins, and specifically inflammatory toxins in the body, such as tumor necrosis factor alpha, interleukin 6 and 8. These are very, very well studied in pro-inflammatory chemicals that your body produces during inflammation in the body. And activated charcoal binds to this and takes it out of your system. Now remember, activated charcoal doesn't leave your gut. So when you take a tablet of activated charcoal, it goes from your mouth and straight back out. It doesn't get absorbed into the bloodstream or into the body. It could create problems if it does that, but it doesn't do that. It stays in the gut, it absorbs toxins from the gut and takes them out. In this patient, or in these patients that come in with mania, with a psychiatric problem, they actually did a blood test, and lo and behold, they found that the C-reactive protein, which is an inflammation protein, as well as interleukin and the other types of inflammatory cytokines were all high. After treatment with 2 weeks with activated charcoal, they found that these inflammation markers fell, and the patient is all better. And there are now more and more clinical trials being done. And the reason they're doing it is because activated charcoal is very cheap. If you compare it to these other chelating agents that are out there, some of them are very good, but they're much more expensive to get the authentic type. So for example, if you've heard of Shilajit, that's a good chelator, takes toxins out of your body and removes them. There is chlorella, which is extremely good chelator as well, but activated charcoal comes at a fraction of the cost, and it's very safe to take. You can take it for weeks, you can take it for months. Just be careful not to take it when if you develop constipation, because that can also happen. But if you don't get any symptoms, you can actually take it for a very prolonged period of time without any issues. So coming back to the question about ADHD, I think the idea is that if a condition as severe as bipolar disorder is being treated exclusively by psychiatrists with activated charcoal, then something like ADHD could also be the result, and it's a very plausible hypothesis, that those same inflammatory molecules produced in your bowel are making it to the brain. We know this is happening. So if you can remove these inflammation markers from the gut, now remember, a lot of the inflammation that we have in the body actually comes from the gut, from the food we eat. So if you're eating a lot of unhealthy fats, lots of junk food or processed food, this is causing inflammation in the bowel. So where do these inflammatory molecules go? Well, they're certainly not being eliminated. They're being absorbed into the blood. They're going to the organs and they're causing inflammation. One of the things we know really well is cholesterol. You have cholesterol, you eat some unhealthy fats, you have a couple of donuts, a pizza. That fat gets absorbed into your system and then it deposits into your arteries and into your blood vessels and causes all sorts of problems. Activated charcoal also binds to cholesterol and takes that out of your gut. So we have this amazing tool which is cheap, it's safe, and it's proven, and it's being used by medical doctors as well as psychiatrists to treat a whole bunch of medical problems. And to see this amazing connection between mental illness and activated charcoal is really quite an amazing kind of revelation, and something we should all look into and try. There's no harm in it. Activated charcoal rarely causes any kinds of issues other than maybe constipation or a bit of diarrhea, but even that goes away within a few days of stopping taking the tablets. So I will actually link into this video some of these journal articles as well as systematic reviews that have been done in the usage of activated charcoal to treat a bunch of different medical problems that all originate from the gut.